Batter up.
Rob and Chris, they're on the air. Yankees, Mets, they're everywhere. From the Bronx to Queens, the diamond gleams. MLB talk, the ultimate team. MLB is the place to be. Rob and Chris with the pitch you'll see. Swinging stats and stories fly. Baseball talk that's amplified.
And welcome to a new episode of NYMLB Talk with your hosts Rob and Chris as we cover the Mets, Yankees, and all of Major League Baseball. And if you're watching us on YouTube, if you can hit that sub button, we would really appreciate it, and the like button, that would be great. And remember, you can follow us on X, you can follow us on TikTok at NYMLB Talk, and you can follow Rob at Armaraska, and you can follow myself at CP7NY. as well. And you can also find us at sportswireradio.org. And you can also find us at southfloridatribune.com. So, Rob, we got a returning guest that everybody wanted, and we got him back.
Yeah, we have former Mets manager Mickey Callaway back on. Mickey, thanks. We really appreciate it. Everybody wanted to hear you again. So thanks for coming back on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Chris. I'm excited to be here, and thanks to all the fans for wanting me back. This is something I really love to do. So let's talk some baseball.
Cool, man.
Yeah, before we get started, Chris, we may have to talk some of the Met fans off of the ledge right now, right, because the Mets are really in a tailspin. It's hard to. Watching this team right now, it's hard to believe that they actually had the best record in baseball until June, because this is such a tailspin. We did not expect it. We expected all those trades during the trade deadline to work out, because on paper they were great, Chris. But look what's going on, especially when getting swept by the Phillies. So I want to ask Mickey, what do you do when a team of veterans go into a tailspin like this at this time of the year when they're fighting for that last wild card spot? I mean, what as a manager do you say to the veterans?
First of all, this is a little surprising for me. I historically, it seems, since I've been really following the Mets and was able to be fortunate enough to manage there, the second half was kind of always, oh yeah, okay, the Mets are going to get rolling. We're going to have a great second half. And I really wasn't worried about them until, a few weeks ago. And I was like, well, this second half surge just never really came. And so they're in a tough spot, like you said. But as a manager, you really have to try to keep things relaxed. You probably need to have a couple of meetings. There probably was a team meeting before, even before the Phillies series, saying, hey, guys, it's time, right? You'll probably use some choice words, a little stronger words than that. But, hey, this is time. We got to go out there and we got to get it done. And if we don't, we're going to be out of this thing. So I'm sure there's been several meetings. I'm sure they're really, trying to press these guys as much as they can while still allowing them to be relaxed and play the game that they're capable of. But, at some point, the players got to jump up in there and have their own team meeting. I wouldn't be surprised if after this Phillies series, there wasn't a players only meeting and maybe held by Lindor or somebody and to try to pump these guys up like it's do or die time, fellas. Let's go.
Yeah, some of these guys were your guys. Not many, but a few. Like Alonso, Diaz. Although you got Diaz, and I'm still convinced if Diaz was Diaz, your 2019 team would have went to the postseason. I just think Diaz, the way he pitched when he first got to New York, I think that cost you guys the postseason. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that was probably a big factor in that season. Obviously, in baseball, no one player is ever fully responsible, but he had a rough start, right? He had a rough go. There was pressure to take him out of the closing role, which I'm glad I didn't, because maybe, I've seen guys get taken out of the closer role and never get back into that role again. for whatever reason, because they thrive in another spot or somebody else steps up. And I'm glad that, we stuck with him. We kind of had to at that time. He was our only chance to really get 3 outs. We had Lugo as kind of that high leverage guy that we could use from the 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then we were going to go to Diaz. So it was a tough season for him. I think he gave up a lot of homers that year in that 9th inning, probably more than historically you want. And then it was just an unfortunate season for him. But I'm glad he's bounced back. He's one of the best closers in baseball, over the last 10 years, and pitching like he's supposed to.
No doubt. Chris, we have a question there from Mickey.
Wow.
Want to read it out?
Who was Mickey's favorite player when he managed?
Okay, I'll probably say Pete. A lot was real special with Pete while he was there, right? He came into spring training as kind of a nobody. Obviously, we knew the power. We really got to know him a little bit in that spring training. And actually, before it was out in the atmosphere where everybody knew that Pete was on the team, I got to call him in like a day or two before we told anybody, and said, "Hey, keep this quiet, but you're gonna travel with us to our first road trip. You made the team, so congrats." And after I was fired, after I managed the Mets and was fired, he sent me this great long voicemail. "Hey man, you'll always be my first manager. I have such love for you." So I have to say, Pete, I loved watching him develop and watching his rookie season. And I just love the way the guy plays the game. He plays as hard as he can. He works as hard as he can to always try to improve, especially on his defense. And I always really respected him for that.
Yeah. And, I'm so glad that the Mets and Pete came to an agreement for at least this year. We know he's going to opt out. Yeah. You can't blame him after this season. Yeah. He has to opt out. And Chris, what do you think, Chris? Do you think we're going to go through what we did last offseason with Pete? Or do you think now there's going to be more teams going after him?
I think it's going to come down to what Steve Cohen wants. I think if Steve Cohen tells, David Stearns, "Hey, make this guy a Met for life," then that's what's going to happen. Because otherwise, I'm really not sure Stearns would sign him to a long-term contract. As good as Alonso's been for the Mets, and as long as, and as good as he's been this year, I don't think Stearns is the type of GM that's going to give Alonso that long-term deal. That's just my guess. But I think if Cohen steps in and goes, "Hey, I want this guy a Met I want him to be a Met for life. I want him to retire a Met," all of that. Yeah. Then I think it gets done, but we'll see. This year, I think this was the type of year he should have had last year, because then I don't think we'd have this discussion about him opting out. I think last year he would have got the big contract somewhere. Well, what do you think, Mickey? You think that's about right? Or?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I don't think that, I know David pretty well, and I don't think traditionally that is his MO, to go out and just sign guys long-term for what they've done. I think he would like to have guys, doing it while he's paying them. But I love the way that Pete swung the bat this year. Oh, yeah. And he's really opened up some people's eyes. Like you said, if he has this last year, who knows what would have happened. The one thing I do know is Pete absolutely loves New York. He loves the Mets, and he wants to be and who wouldn't want to be, right? If you could be a Mets, or a Yankee lifetime, there's an aura and a kind of a, you hit that legend status. Oh, no matter how you do, Pete was a Met for life, or Judge was a Yankee for life. That goes a long way, and in people's legacy. And I think guys think about that. And I know he loves the city, and I know he loves the fans. So hopefully they retain him for a long time. And, hopefully Cohen says, "Hey, do whatever it takes. Let's pay Big Pete and get him back here. Let him hit some more homers next year."
And you know what? It also helps to know that you're going to be hitting behind a guy like Juan Soto, right? For the next, how many years he signs, right? So yeah, I don't want to go anywhere. I want this guy in front of me. I got Lindor leading off, and, Nimmo's behind me or whatever. So, yeah, I would not blame him at all wanting to be here for sure.
Yeah, and you know that's a great point. A lot of times players like Pete would leave because there's not supporting players around him, and they don't, you know, they might go somewhere else to try and really get to the playoffs. But the Mets are a playoff. They have a playoff roster. You know, whether they make it or not always remains to be seen, no matter how good your roster is. We all know that. That's how it goes. But they have a great roster, and they're going to be good, you know, moving forward.
Definitely. The other day, okay, so since he's come back, Sean Manaea has had a rough time. The other night he got shelled against Philadelphia. And when he went back into the dugout, Mickey, he had that look on his face where a look of defeat on his face. And in the booth, Ronnie and Keith said, you know, that's bad right now with the young pitchers in the dugout. You know, that's really bad. And the next thing you see is Mendy goes next to Manaea and starts talking to him. What do you think Mendy was saying to Manaea at that point?
Yeah, he probably went up there, put his arm around him, and said, "Hey, you know, you're getting back. That was a rough one, but we need you, right? If we're going to make the playoffs, you got to be one of our top guys. Shake it off. Come out next time and pitch the way you're capable of. You know, because like the guys in the booth said, you don't want the rest of the team seeing people that feel defeated on the field, right? So the manager's job is to recognize that, go up to them, you know, put your arm around them. Sometimes you got to yell at them. Sometimes you got to, you know, treat them with kid gloves and do whatever's necessary for the team to have the best chance to win the next time out.
Yeah. Eric Katz, Mickey, you know Eric, on the Monday Night Show. He's wondering if Pete wants to be the guy somewhere else and not Robin to, I guess, Soto's Batman. What do you think about that? I think he wants to stay in New York.
Yeah, I do too. Right. I think he wants to be a New York Met for life. I think that, you know, from knowing Pete, he was always so appreciative of the shot that the New York Mets gave him by even, you know, getting him in the organization, calling him up to the big leagues, taking care of him. They have taken care of him, right? They've paid him pretty well. And, you know, I think that he wants to be there as long as possible.
I agree. And thanks, Pensman Sports, for joining us tonight. Chris, we got some of those viewer questions from Mickey. You want to ask him some of them?
Yeah. Well, let's take you back to your playing days. Let me see. Jim from Franklin Square. Sorry. Who was the first batter you faced in your MLB debut?
Oh boy.
I know that's a tough one.
Who led off for the Expos in '99? It might have been who was it? Rondell White? No, I don't even know. I guess I should know that.
Okay, that's right. So it was the leadoff hitter for the Montreal Expos.
Yeah, was it Cabrera? It wasn't Orlando Cabrera, was it? No. Who was it?
Let's see. Wait, I'm going to look this up. 99 Expos. I'll give you some names. Yep. All right. Definitely not Chris Widger. No. Brad Fulmer. No. Jose Vidro, maybe? No. Cabrera was shortstop. Shane Andrews was
it might have been Cabrera. That stuck out. Cabrera might have been hitting second, but he was up there in the top of the lineup for sure.
You know what?
White.
We'll look at it.
He was there, but he went.
Yeah.
we'll find that out. And hello, Puppet Bill out there. Puppet Bill's out there, and hello, Maria. We got a lot of people out there tonight for you, Mick. What other viewer questions you got, Chris?
Let's see. Viewer questions. One more. All right, Paul from Queens. How did you feel about seeing yourself on a Topps baseball card for the very first time?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that was exciting, right? You always dream of being on a baseball card or on a Wheaties box or on a Sports Illustrated. Yeah. I guess they don't dream about that anymore. Maybe they want to be TikTok famous or something now. But when I was growing up, you wanted to be on the front page of Sports Illustrated or the Wheaties box or something like that. So to see myself on a Topps baseball card was really an awesome moment. You know, I never took my baseball career for granted, and I always appreciated all the opportunities I got because, you know, I could kind of see the writing on the wall. Hey, maybe I'll get a cup of coffee in the big leagues and try to do the best I can while I'm up there. But I didn't really have the stuff to go up there and stick on a daily basis. You know, I didn't have the velo, the movement, et cetera, all the things you look for in a major league pitcher. I just went out there and grinded out the best I could and tried to get as many outs as I could in my playing career. So to be on a Topps baseball card of any kind, even if it was you know, one your parents made when you were 10, I'll take it.
Listen, you did something most people do not get a chance to do. You played Major League Baseball, you know, and like I didn't, Chris didn't, we would have loved to. So, I mean, right there, right, Chris?
I got the box score. I got your box score here.
Okay, here we go.
Great.
All right, you were, starting lineup for the Expos was Cabrera leading off.
Okay.
Pedro second, Rondell White, Orlando Merced, Vladdy fifth, Chris Widger, Michael Barrett, Ryan McGuire, and then Dustin Hermanson was going against you. Did you remember that one? Yeah,
I did. Yeah. Oh yeah. He got pissed. My third at bat. I got a hit my first two at bats. I hadn't hit since high school, and I went 2 for 2. And that third at bat, man, he was looking at me.
And you drove in a run.
Yeah, I did.
Come on, who else does that in his first start?
I know it's like making an eagle in golf on the first hole. It's all downhill from there. Exactly. I promise you.
And your pitching line was pretty good. You won the game. 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, walked 3, struck out 4.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
Take it for
not
Major
bad,
League debut.
First start.
Yeah,
Take that in a heartbeat, man.
Not
it was
not
an
bad.
easy place to pitch over there at that old Olympic Stadium, whatever it was called. I think there was about 4,000 people there.
Yeah, it was Olympic Stadium. You're right. Okay, we got a ton of people asking questions right now, so we'll get to a couple of them. Then we got our own questions. Joe Dell wants to know what mound did you feel most comfortable pitching from in your career?
Yeah, that would have been Petco Park, Seattle. What is it called now? It's called something else. Not Petco. What was it called back in the day? Anyway, it was in Seattle. When I pitched against the Mariners, I always felt really comfortable on their mound. I don't know if it was the depth of the backstop or just the way the field, you know, you kind of feel like you're down in a little hole, but I felt really close to the batter, and that just made me comfortable for whatever reason.
Wasn't Seattle,
right now it's
Safeco? Was it Safeco back then too?
Safeco,
right?
Yes.
Yeah,
it was Safeco.
What is it now? Is
the other
T-Mobile
one
still now?
Yeah, it's T-Mobile now.
Right?
T-Mobile.
And Petco's in San Diego, right? So
Petco's San Diego.
So, all right. And Eric Katz said, and we know this, Mickey does have a ring from the Angels when they won the World Series. So
there you go.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to get traded over at the right time. I got traded over in the winter of I was with the Rays at the time. Tampa Bay Rays was my original team. And I got traded for a kid named Wilmy Caceres, and he was a shortstop. And right after the trade, they thought he was a 19-year-old prospect. And right after the trade, I think they found out he was like 27 years old or something. He had been lying about his age. So I was like, oh, man, they're going to send me back to the Rays. And we didn't have a very good team. So fortunately, they let me stay, and it was good timing. I ended up getting a ring. So that was a great experience.
You can't beat that, right?
That's
can't
right.
beat getting a ring. All right, we have one. We're going to go to one more question from the viewers now. Then we got some other stuff we want to ask you. So I think this is Bill the Puppet, the Mets puppet. He wants to know if you had to pick the starting 3 pitchers for a Met wild card run, who would they be?
Ooh. We're talking current guys or
current
all time?
Current
well, you know what?
All time is easy, right? For 3 Mets, come on.
How about from when Mickey, from when you managed to now? From when you were
obviously DeGrom, obviously, right?
Right.
You know, he's always gave you a chance to win, and with his 1-something ERA he was putting up while I was there. But definitely DeGrom. You know, after that, and this is going to sound a little out there, but I think I would go with Jason Vargas. You know, Jason always kept us in the game, you know, and it might have been 4 2/3 or 5 innings, but he kept us in the game. You knew you were going to get strikes. And in a playoff atmosphere, I wouldn't have mind seeing him, you know, seeing all these hitters all juiced up and ready for the postseason, and then him coming in, you know, with that 84 and that great changeup and breaking ball. And my last one, I would have to go with Wheeler. Obviously, I mean he obviously would have been in there, but those would be the three. It would have gone, you know, DeGrom, Wheeler, and then I would have thrown out Jason Vargas out there for a little bit of a different look, and then maybe gone to the bullpen early if we needed to.
I have a question I wanted to ask you. In 2019, when the Mets fired pitching coach David Island with and replaced him with 82-year-old Phil Regan, did Brody Van Wagenen consult with you about what was going to happen, or did Sandy Alderson say anything? Were you consulted about this, or did they just throw it on you?
So here's this. This is a wild story, kind of. So we flew in. I think all this went down. Was it in Chicago? Maybe when all this went down. Anyway, we got in about 3 a.m, and I had a phone call on my phone about 8 a.m, and it was Brody. So I answered it. He said, "Hey, can you come up to my suite?" And he just told us that he told me that we were making a move, and that Dave would be gone, and Chuck Hernandez, our bullpen coach, would be let go, and that they had Phil in the hotel ready to go. He had flown in before us, and he was ready to go for the next day. So, you know, I called up Dave, had him come up, and I told him the news, and, you know, kind of went from there. So, you know, I really wasn't aware of it until the morning of, but you know, those are their decisions, right? That they need to make decisions, and you know, I'm under them, and you know, always respected all the decisions they made and tried to do the best we could to win as a team. I love Dave Island. He was kind of my mentor in AAA when I played, and then I also love Phil Regan. I mean, he's amazing. I mean, just watching him jog out there that year to make mound visits, I was like, this guy is a stud. If anybody's a stud, it's Phil Regan. So, and he both of them great pitching coaches that I learned a ton from.
All right,
great. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, we got one more from viewer that they sent in. Bob from Jersey asked this one. I had to narrow it down, but Game 7 of the World Series. Who's your starter out of these three? Peak, Jason DeGrom, Paul Skeens, or Scooble?
Ooh.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have to go with Jacob DeGrom. I mean, he is. I've only seen Jacob DeGrom in person when there was 2 Cy Young Award, you know, awards won. So, I mean, I was in awe every time I saw this guy pitch. I've never seen any of those other guys pitch live. I've seen them on TV a little bit, and they have nasty stuff. But Jacob DeGrom is a competitor. He's never backed down from anything in his life. You know, even when we weren't scoring runs for him, he had a great attitude. And I'll take him over anybody, you know, in the playoffs any day of the week.
Definitely. All right. Eric Katz wants to know, how tough is it to tell a player he's cut or to fire a coach?
Yeah, no, that's one of the toughest things you have to do in baseball. You know, as a coordinator in the minor leagues, I had to let go some pitchers. That was always tough. I've got a great story about an ex-Yankee, Vidal Nuno. I don't know if you remember him. You remember him, little left-handed pitcher? I think he pitched for the Yankees a little bit, didn't he?
Yes, I think
Came over from Seattle, maybe. So I had him in A-ball the year before, and then I became the pitching coordinator. And this kid pitched pretty well for us in A-ball. He threw about 88, lefty, pretty straight, but strikeout numbers were good. Walks were way down. He challenged hitters, made them hit it. He did have about a 5 ERA in A ball and gave up a bunch of homers. So we let him go. And he got really pissed. And I had a great relationship with him. And he got really pissed. And he said, "You're going to see me in the big leagues somewhere." And sure enough, I think it was a year and a half later, he was up in the big leagues and pitching well. So, it sometimes it's a blessing for guys, because he just, for whatever reason, the way he was viewed in the Cleveland organization, there was no chance he was going to get a shot. But it is hard to tell these guys that, they're out there trying to live out their dreams and feed their families. The coaches are trying to feed their families and keep their careers going. Mm-hmm. So to tell them that kind of news is really tough. It's, like I said before, it's part of the job. It's not the fun part of it, but it's something you have to do and move on and try to focus on the next game.
I tell
Chris,
you, watching,
you got another one?
Yeah, just real quick, watching Hard Knocks on HBO, right? But I know it's football, but when they get the players in to cut them, I mean, you're telling a kid his dream is over, right?
Right.
I know it's a little different. You got an older, maybe, a coach who's got kids already, or even players that have kids. It's got to be hard, man. That's got to be the hardest thing, either tell a young kid or somebody a little bit older who has a family, hey, your dream is over. Like, you're done here. It's got to be the hardest thing for
it is. It's a very tough thing, because, like you said, other people are involved, their families, their kids, and these people are just working as hard as they can. So that is a difficult thing to do.
Mickey, what was your favorite team as a kid growing up?
Well, I was named after Mickey Mantle, so the Yankees were a team that I really loved. But I would have to probably say the team I paid most attention to were the Cubs. I would stay with my grandparents when I was a little kid. And they had lived in Racine, Wisconsin for some time, and so they were big Cub fans. And obviously, in the afternoons, the Cubbies were always on TV. So I'd sit there with my grandparents, and we'd watch the Cubs. And, that's back when they had Ryan Sandberg and Sabo and Grace and all those guys. And those were great. Andre Dawson. It was great. Those were great teams to watch. So I really enjoyed the Cubbies growing up.
Now, Mickey, I'm gonna bring you back just a couple of years ago, and I was there, so I know. How did it feel managing your first home opener in New York?
Oh man, it's awesome. I've always said this, ever since the first day that I was able to manage a game in New York. Managing in New York is like playing in the playoffs anywhere else. Right. I mean, it just is the energy, the way the stadium. I would always get out there about an hour before. I'd try to sign some autographs, and then I'd just go kind of sit in the dugout, look at my notes, and you could just feel the ballpark come alive. And, that Citi Field is one of the best fields I've ever, been able to be fortunate enough to step a foot on, much less get to manage a team there. So every night that I got to manage the Mets was something super special, and it always felt like the playoffs to me.
Yeah, that first game was actually March 29th in 2018, and you guys won 9-4 against the Cardinals, which you continued the tradition of the Mets winning opening day game.
That's
which
right.
I've been at so many of them. But
it must have been a lot of pressure for you guys to win. Did you guys feel that pressure, like opening day?
I mean, the press is talking about it, right? So, it's there. I think I was probably freaking out about other stuff since it was my first day managing, and I'd never been part of the National League before. So I'm sure my mind was racing on other things at the time. But, I definitely remember the press talking about it. Is that streak still going to this day, Rob?
No. The Mets lost an opening day, so that streak's not going. But they still have a great opening day record. I mean, the best in baseball.
Can you compare, all right, coaching in New York, right? But I know
Mhm.
you were pitching coach in Cleveland. Like, how was it there? Because Cleveland, they always got great crowds in Cleveland, right? I mean,
Yeah,
so
we had
how
great
was the difference?
crowds.
The intensity.
Yeah, so it's way more laid back in Cleveland, right? I think you have two sports writers that are around. I think we had two at any given time. So, it was more like you could just kind of go out there, and there was just way less distractions. When you're in New York, there's just more distractions. That's just the honest truth. That's just part
Right.
of it. You got to meet with people in your office. Celebrities are on the field, in the dugout. They're wanting some attention. So it was an exciting day every day I got to manage there.
Eric wants to know, how great was it to have three aces with Wheeler, DeGrom, and Syndergaard at his peak?
Oh, that was always fun, right? I wish we would have done more with that staff. It was kind of a shame that we never got to get to the postseason and run these three guys out there, because I remember one series, I think they all hit 99 or 100, and they all hit like 94 with their sliders. I mean, what three pitchers in a row can do that? That's just insane. So to be able to throw that stuff out there every night and get to watch it was awesome. I'm just, it just sucks that we weren't able to get to the postseason to see what these three could do.
Listen, with that rotation, and if
Yeah.
Diaz was Diaz the year before when he was with Seattle, you guys would have been dangerous in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. So tomorrow the Mets are having an old timers game, but they're not calling it that. They're calling it
It's an alumni game or something, right?
Alumni game. But this is what I want, Mick. I want to freak out a little with this one. It's going to be Team Shea Stadium against Team City Field. So some of the players for Shea going to be Piazza, of course, Alfonso, and Pedro Martinez. But for Team City Field, Matt Harvey, Cologne. But listen to this one. Noah Syndergaard is going to be there tomorrow at an Old Timers Day game.
Oh, awesome.
But how crazy is that, though?
Yeah.
He's 30.
Yeah,
What,
he's
33
probably still
old?
pretty young, right? Yeah. No, that's awesome. I'm glad he's coming back. He had a rough go after he left the Mets. That's just part of some people's career, but I'm glad he's coming back. It'll be great to see all those guys out there on the field. I hope nobody blows out an Achilles or anything.
Oh God,
we're getting old, man.
Mickey,
Really.
looking at the Mets this year, especially with a guy like Ryan Helsley, right? You were a pitching coach, obviously you were a pitcher. How do you fix Helsley? I mean, Helsley was one of the best closers in baseball, and then he comes to the Mets, and now he can't get guys out. Like, what's the deal here? What do you think is the problem?
Yeah, I mean, you always have to have a plan on how you're going to fix a guy, right? Whether it's, let's look at video from the past when you were going at your best. Let's go gather all that information. Let's go look at your spin rates and how the ball's coming off your fingertips. You really have to dive into every little thing with the staff first and try to figure out, okay, how can we best help this guy? And then once you feel like you have, a few things diagnosed, you need to go to the kid, have an honest conversation with him and say, hey, we've seen some things. We got to figure out what's going to be the most impactful for you to start, competing at this moment. And then hopefully that kind of helps. And then this off season, we got to get to work, and we got to get you back to the way you need to be. And, sometimes it's just mental. Sometimes it's a little mechanical flaw, a little bad habit that they picked up along the way for whatever reason. Most of the time it's a mental thing and it's a confidence thing. So, once you as a pitching coach in an organization diagnose exactly the things you can help this kid work on, they usually get a little bit of a shot of confidence because they feel like they're working towards, back towards where they were when they were being successful. And if you can do that, then you're going to get, a productive pitcher again. And that's just, like I said, you got to have a process, you got to have a formula, and you got to make sure that it's the right things that you're diagnosing to really help the guy get his confidence back.
If Eric also put, if Noah Syndergaard stayed healthy, do you think he would have been an ace somewhere else, Mickey?
Oh yeah, I really do. I think he would have gone on. His stuff is just so good, and to me, Noah never had a chance to really come into his own, where he finally had some innings under his belt, kind of like Wheeler has done. Right, Wheeler. Right. When in his tail end with us, he had just started pitching good, right? It was always like, oh, when's Wheeler going to blossom? And then, those last couple of years with the Mets, he really started pitching well. I don't think Noah ever really got to that point. He didn't get those innings under his belt to make him feel like a seasoned veteran that could go out there every day, take the ball every fifth day, and go out there and give your team a chance to win. He had these really great streaks, and sometimes he'd have a bad game, and it just didn't get to that point where he was that comfortable veteran. And if he would have done that, he definitely would have been an ace somewhere, because the stuff is just off the charts.
Yeah, agree, definitely. Chris,
I had to look this up, Mickey, but I want to throw up a couple of cards for you. Couple of your older ones.
Oh boy.
But that's got to be pretty awesome, man, to have your own baseball card.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
And it's a minor league one, but still.
I think I still have the record for the most wins in Bulls history. I don't think you want that minor league record. I was there too long.
Something to be. That's something to hang on to. That's not bad. All right, we got one more. I don't want to embarrass you too much, but. How about that one?
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
And that one's signed, right?
yeah, that one is signed. Oh, awesome. That's my rookie card.
Pretty cool.
Do you still have
all your cards, or?
I don't know where any of my cards are. They're in boxes somewhere. I'm in the middle of still moving into my new place, so I'll track them down somewhere.
Yeah.
Like Mick, does it matter to players if they have a bobblehead day of that player, or is it just for the fans and the player doesn't care, or do some players get a kick out of something like that?
Oh, I think they love it if they have one. I would probably say most could, are okay if they don't. I'm sure there's always some jealousy, going on that, oh, he got one and I didn't, type of thing. I'm sure there's people like that out there. But for the most part, these guys are just human beings. They love that their buddy's got a bobblehead and they cheer their buddy on. And, if they don't get one, it is what it is. They'll go out there and play as hard as they can anyway.
Yeah, we always talk about giveaways now at the stadiums, because they're giving away like to the first 15,000. So in New York, you got to get there. If you have a 110 game, you got to get there like at 8 a.m. To get a bobblehead, so that your kid's not screaming that he didn't get one. When I was a kid, everybody got a giveaway. No matter what. And then if they ran out of them, the Mets would give them a coupon to come back for a batting helmet or something. But now it's like these big companies are sponsoring these things, and they don't have enough of them. So, and plus, a lot of them are going up on eBay too. I mean, if Judge is having a bobblehead, Chris, they're going on eBay, right?
Oh yeah, you see it now. I mean, these people are waiting online from like 6 hours before the game starts. And then, like, during the game, they're on eBay already. Like, they're taking pictures, sitting in their seat, like, for $200. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but come on, let's give everybody that paid for a ticket a $4 bobblehead. Let's go. Like, we can give out 35,000 bobbleheads.
And these sponsors are big time companies, right? They're like, whoever is sponsoring it, they can't go another few more $1,000 to to make sure everybody gets it. I mean, and these bobbleheads, they sell out usually, right? The games, there's usually 40,000 at whatever stadium it is, whether it's Pittsburgh or New York. So you know you're going to get rid of them. It's not like you're not going to get rid of them. So yeah,
it's like it's like when the Yankees gave away the Seinfeld bobblehead a couple of weeks ago, right? They were playing the Red Sox. They didn't need a giveaway.
Yeah, no, you didn't. You didn't need a giveaway that day.
Right.
Well,
yeah, they're going to have
a couple
people
years
there
ago,
anyway.
I went to one. A friend of mine and my daughter, the three of us went. They were giving away the 62 home run bobblehead. It was going to be Judge and Maris. So one day it was going to be Judge, the next day it'd be Maris. I think the one we went to was Maris, and we got three of them. My friend's a Red Sox fan, so we were going to see the Red Sox. So me and my daughter, we don't collect bobbleheads either. So we ended up giving away two of them just to somebody. I'm like, oh, you don't? They're like, awesome. No, we got hit too late. I'm like, yeah, I didn't think of it. You go online and it's like $200. I was giving wait a minute. I should have thought about this, I still wouldn't have did that.
Well, you did the right thing.
I'm not into that at all. I'd rather, what? You take it,
Absolutely.
So
you rather give it, hey Chris, you rather give it to a kid than some of these people in the stands who are catching baseballs and ripping them off of kids or older. No. Senior citizens. That's awful. Give the kid the baseball.
I know. Exactly. Okay, I had to actually, Mickey, because like a lot of fans are on the fence either way about the steroid era. Should Bonds get in the Hall of Fame? Should Sosa, McGuire, Clemens, all these guys? What is your thoughts on it? And what was the overall thought with the players that you played with, the coaches? What was all their thoughts about it?
I was fairly young when all that was going on. I was just getting called up to the big leagues, so I was so focused on just trying to throw 88 to 90 that I didn't know much about that until I did get up to the big leagues. But it was something that was going around, and a lot of people were doing it, and probably way more people than that have been suspected of doing it. So it was just something that was going on at that time in the game, right? You have eras in this game where things kind of take hold, and people do whatever, whether it's a fingernail file on the ball or using pine tar or other sticky type stuff, or banging trash cans, or trying to get an advantage electronically with the monitors in the dugout. And that's something that you're always going to battle. And I think at that point in time in baseball, they weren't testing for it. They were testing for other illegal substances. So guys started taking it and improving who they were as a player. And it made it tough for guys like me to go up and get outs in the big leagues. And who knows, maybe I would have stayed a little bit longer if some of those guys hadn't done it. So from that standpoint, as a player that didn't do it and was having to compete against those guys, it kind of, it wasn't the best feeling. And I look back on it now and I'm like, yeah, man, maybe I could have pitched 2 more years in the big leagues or something. Maybe not with the way my stuff was, but who knows, if that stuff was so prevalent. As far as guys getting into the Hall of Fame, to me, it was just part of baseball's era, right? There's probably going to be a spot in the Baseball Hall of Fame that says something about the steroid era. And maybe you make a special section for the guys that, maybe were accused of partaking or did or got busted or came out with the Balco stuff or whatever. And, make sure that they're part of the history of the game, because it's a history that we don't love, but it's something that happened. And I think that history needs to continue to be told so people continue to learn from it. And maybe that's the right thing to do with it. But those guys were so impactful, Bonds and Sosa and all those guys, McGuire, Schilling and
Clemens.
Clemens. I mean, Clemens is probably one of the top 5 pitchers ever. Yeah. And their names belong in the Hall of Fame in some form or fashion. Maybe it's just under the era that we don't really love to talk about too much.
Yeah. I look at it this way real quick. I look at it this way. their stats, their records are in the record book, and there's no asterisk near their name. Like Barry Bonds is home run. He's the home run king now. Until there's an asterisk or until they get their numbers taken out, and I can't see that ever happening, I think they're right. I'm with you. I think they should be in the Hall of Fame because it is part of baseball's history. Is it the proudest history? No, but it's part of it.
Yeah. I mean, you could put an asterisk on any time frame in baseball, right? Because it was so different. The baseball today than it was when I managed is so different. You could put an asterisk on any of the numbers that are being put up today. Yeah. Right. It's the game is different. The rules are different. I mean, if the rules are different, that makes it totally different. So to me, I agree with you, Chris. Let's get them in there. Let's put their names where they need to be in that Hall of Fame. And it's our history. We love this game. It's never been a perfect game, but it's always going to be a great game.
Yeah,
definitely agree. We have some stuff we want to plug for you, Mickey, but I want to ask you one question before we get to that stuff. There was a little I don't even know if it's controversy when you were managing the Mets about DeGrom and DeGrom wanting his own personal catcher, or people saying that he wanted one, meaning Nito. Do you remember that? Do you remember what happened with that?
I remember, obviously always talking to these guys. I remember Syndergaard really, there was an issue with him wanting his own catcher. DeGrom, he was going to get whatever the hell DeGrom wanted, right? If DeGrom came into my office and said, Nito's catching, I said, yes, sir. That's just how it was. And you know what? That's just how it has to be. DeGrom was our ace. He's winning Cy Youngs. He gets what he gets, and then, unfortunately, Noah wasn't pitching very good. He wanted his own catcher. I took it into consideration and I tried to catch, the guy with Noah a few times, but he just wasn't at that point where he can demand his own catcher. Yeah. So I just couldn't do it for him the way I did it for DeGrom. And that's just, part of business. I got to put the people out there I think are going to win the game for us the most. And sometimes it does get into pitcher's head. I totally get that. You want the guy that you're comfortable with, but you also have to earn that right. And that right is probably not going to be earned by many. You got to be like one of the best pitchers in baseball to be able to step up and go into a manager's office and say, hey, I want this guy catching me, not that guy. Because that's a slap in the face to your teammate, the other guy that's the catcher as well. So, you have to have a serious conversation with guys. DeGrom came in, I'm sure, and said, hey, I love the way Nito catches. And knowing DeGrom, there's no way he demanded it. He probably had a very good conversation with me about it. And I was like, well, you can have whatever the hell you want. So he'll be catching you.
Should we trade for another guy? Is there
exactly. We'll go sign anybody. Who do you want?
Just let us know.
Exactly.
All right, Chris, bring up the plugs and stuff for Mickey.
Okay. Yeah, we got to bring up your camp, your
cool.
pitching camp, right? I think it's this one.
Yeah. He brings it up. Tell us about it.
Yeah.
Mick.
So, what I'm doing is I'm teaching lessons in the Memphis area, and I've got, clients from about 2 hours away, and I've even talking to some pro guys. They're trying to get back up to the big leagues, and college kids all the way down to these really cute 7-year-olds that I love working with. So if anybody ever wants any lessons, you can find me on Facebook. If you want to fly in, come on, drive, whatever. If you want to do video lessons, I'll be glad to look at, their motion and give some feedback via video. So, if anybody wants to do anything like that, just reach out to me on Facebook. That's the best way to find me. It's just Mickey Callaway. There's going to be a picture of my dog and Sage Ranch on there, and hit me up, and we'll get your kid to improve a little bit.
Oh, cool. That sounds great. Who wouldn't want to get pitching lessons from you? Really, that would be great. I wish if
I had a young kid that was into baseball, especially pitching, I'm going to go to the guy who's been there, like has pitched in the majors, coached in the majors, pitching coach, manager. That's the guy I want to learn from. So, and if I have to fly in even for a weekend, a couple of days, just 2 days from you or 3 days from you is probably going to be incredible, an incredible learning experience. So I would tell any parent, listen, this is the guy you want to bring your kid to for a couple of days, a week, whatever you can. I know, obviously sometimes you can't travel that far, whatever. But yeah, this is the guy that you want to bring your kid to. Now, because I see a lot of parents, they do get scammed, right? From a hitting coach, pitching coach, and they're just not someone like yourself,
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I try to make sure that we hit, each kid with the mental side, the preparatory side. We really want to, work on the delivery, obviously. But, pitching is something that you have to hit all these facets to be the best you can be. And, eating right and lifting weights right and stuff like that is essential to being a great pitcher. And you're right. Even 1 or 2 lessons can go a very long way to really help these kids improve, because a lot of times you see something right away. If you diagnose the right thing and you talk about the most impactful thing, it can make a huge difference. I was teaching lessons to my buddy's kid, and, I'm not taking credit for this, but he's signed to go to Xavier and go pitch. Wow. And then we started working together. His velo kind of shot up a little bit, and he ended up getting $500,000 to sign a professional contract before he stepped foot on Xavier. So, one little tweak here or there can add some miles per hour. And, it's fun to see these guys improve. That's what brings me the most satisfaction I've ever had in this game.
That's great. We also have to promote the show that you're doing with Scott on the South Florida Tribune on Saturday mornings, talking baseball. There's the logo. So tell us a little about plug the show a little bit. Tell us what.
Yeah, so you know what? It's really a laid back show. We're gonna have guests. We had Jim Ruggleman on, who was my bench coach there with the Mets a couple of Saturdays ago. And it's just laid back form of talking about, whatever's going on in baseball currently. And we're going to have some great players, some great coaches, and hopefully some front office guys that are going to be able to chime in and come on and talk to us from time to time. But, it's really laid back, long form podcast. And we just love talking baseball, like the title says.
Yeah, it's definitely a good show, a show to see. I think it's on at 9:00 tomorrow. You're doing an episode tomorrow. Yes, so, our people out there, our audience, if you could check it out in the morning, it's 9 a.m., not 9 p.m. Okay, guys. So It's in the morning. Right. It's in the morning. Check it out. It's a good show. I've seen, the episode you had so far, and I enjoyed it. Also, Mickey's on Monday nights. I'm on that show too. 108 Stitches on the South Florida Tribune. That's another fun show. We have a good time talking baseball. That one's a little longer than our show, but you get a lot of Mickey on that show, and you get some of me, but Eric Katz too, and Scott. So it's really a good show, and I'm just so glad that I got to meet Mickey on that show, and that he comes on our show, because he's really a great guest.
And and that's a great show, because it's like you got 4 or 5 different, really different, from different age levels too. So you got different, opinions on the game and all that. So it's really a great show to watch on Mondays, especially.
The dynamic of it is awesome, right? Like you said, we got Eric, who's a little bit younger, probably in his mid-20s, and he knows a ton about baseball. And then you have us old timers like Rob and me on there, just giving our 2 cents. But yeah, it's a great show. It's fun. There's some wacky stats that Scott throws out there, and that's kind of fun to cover. But anytime you can sit there and talk about baseball and current events and stuff like that's going on in our game, it always makes for a good time.
Yeah, it definitely does. And we actually have Scott coming back next week. with Anthony Savino. Savino is back. Everything's good with him. So that's going to be a good show for everybody next Friday night, because I think, Chris, I think Savino is going to go at it with Scott on Friday night.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
I think so. You got two pretty good characters there. They're a little bit loud at times too, so it should be a very interesting show to watch. I think me and Rob are just going to sit back and just let them talk.
Yeah. Y'all might not have a chance to talk with those two in there.
Which is fine. I don't mind. I love it.
We need to get the puppet to kind of go back and forth.
God, I don't know if we can get those three together. That might be too much. I don't know.
Hey, Mickey, one of these shows we have to have you come on with the puppet and have him interview.
Absolutely. Let's do that.
Now that's a good one.
Because he is great. All right, we got a couple of minutes. I wanted to ask you something that I was curious about. Where were you when the Wilpons or Brody, whoever, called you and told you that you were their pick as a manager of the New York Mets?
Yeah, so at the time, Sandy Alderson was still the GM.
Okay.
And I had gone to New York to interview, and sat in there during the interview process. I think it was J.P. Ricciardi. Who else was in the room? Jeff Wilpon was obviously there. Sandy was there. John, who was our assistant GM, was there. And we had a great conversation with those guys. And then I went to eat with Fred at the local restaurant that we had some Bronzino, which was fantastic. Nice. And then I left and hopped a train to Philly, and I was interviewing with them the next day. And when I got out of my Philly interview, I had a voicemail from Sandy telling me to call him. And I called him. He offered me the job while I was still on the train. I guess he didn't want Philly to have a chance to offer me. And I said, well, I'll be there tomorrow. We could talk about, a contract, because I wasn't going to turn down. Who's going to turn down managing the Mets? You have to be an idiot to do that. So, it was a no-brainer for me right away. I was like, heck yeah, I want to be the manager of the Mets. Let's do this.
Yeah, did you get offers for any other team other than the Mets, or just the Mets?
No, I had interviewed with the Mets, interviewed with the Phillies, and then took the Mets job before I even got to talk to anybody. I called the Phillies and said, hey, look, I'm going to take this job.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
And then they hired. Who did they hire? They hired Gabe Kapler at the time.
That's right. That's when they hired Kapler. That's right. Well, we're glad that the Mets hired you. Definitely, Mickey. Hey, you had a winning record with the Mets. Not every manager can say that. Not an easy thing to do. Right, like I said. But all right, Chris, do you have anything else?
No, I mean, listen, 9/11 just passed. I hate to be the Debbie Downer here, but what were your recollections of that date? Were you playing? I was just looking it up. I don't think you were.
I was in, let's see, I was in AAA at the time. I was in Durham. And I remember it going down, and it was just, a sad day for everyone. It's something I always think about. I did get to pitch on one of the anniversaries, so I have a lineup card that has the ribbon and nice. All that, which is awesome keepsake for me. So, but yeah, every year after that, when I was in the big leagues and got to play, I loved the way we honored everybody from that day. And there'll always be a special place in my heart for all of the, first responders that risked their lives and gave their lives to go and try and help get those people out of that building. That was a great time, to see how the United States can really come together when somebody attacks us, and, just still pray for the families to this day. And all the people affected.
Look at it from the people that, I know we have to honor the people that passed away, but how about all the people that were saved that day? There were absolutely people that got out of those buildings, that got enough, or whatever. There are countless lives, that wouldn't have been saved if it wasn't for the, the first responders that got them out of that building as soon as,
doubt,
as quickly as they could. And
you talk about true heroes. It's not baseball players and football players. It's those people. They're the heroes.
They are the heroes. That's
yeah.
great.
I remember the days after that, and I remember finally going back to the Yankee games, and I remember going to a few of the postseason games that year, and just looking at you. I always had respect for policemen, firemen, EMS people, always, because I know what they do on a daily basis. But you look at them differently after that day. You looked at them,
you really do.
Looked at them as almost like superheroes, like Superman and Batman, like that's how you almost looked at them, because look what they did, just you can't even fathom what they do. And this is what they do on a daily basis. It wasn't just that day. I mean, that day, most amazing day, but they still do amazing things on an everyday basis.
Right.
And
they're running into fires and they're running towards guns every day.
We're running away. They're running.
Exactly.
Right? So,
that's right. That's why they're the heroes, Chris. They really are the true heroes. Good point, Chris, to bring up. But all right, unfortunately, we are out of time. I just want to thank Mickey again. We love having Mickey. And as you can see, our audience was really big tonight. And we had a lot of questions, and it got bigger, and everybody stayed with us, Chris. It's like it's just amazing. Every Friday night we have a huge audience, and we really appreciate it. And what more could I say? Mickey, anytime you want to come on, you have an open invitation.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I'll definitely come on again.
Hey,
Let's get that puppet on here. I want to interact with that puppet a little bit. That'll be
Bill, did you hear that? Bill the Met Puppet. Mickey wants to interact, so we got to make that work.
Mickey,
anyway, Monday
we're have you back for is maybe like a preview for the World Series.
Okay, absolutely,
right.
That would be great.
We can do that all throughout the playoffs if you guys want, where we just
sounds good.
Hit on.
Hey, hopefully it's Yankees and Mets. That would be great. Well, not really great for me, but I would. But it would be great. Yeah.
Chris, right now I'm worried about the Mets. So. All right, all right, that would be great. We'll definitely talk about that, Mickey. Looking forward to it. And once again, Monday we'll be on, I guess, at 3. We have a guest on Monday, right, Chris?
Yes, we have a big Yankee fan, Madison. She's
okay. So we have. Okay, so we have Madison. So we're on 3 p.m. Monday afternoon, and then next Friday night, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth, and Anthony Savino, the New York Big Mouth, are finally gonna go at it. So that's next Friday night. You're not gonna miss it.
Earplugs with you just in case.
Yeah. And once again, thanks everybody. Have a good weekend, and we will catch you on Monday.